We have looked at how women self-sabotage. Now let's look at the why. Why do they do this? Some of the reasons could include internalized stereotypes. For instance, societal messages which say that women are not leaders, are not good leaders, they're emotional, they can only do well in the kitchen or at home taking care of children and husbands. These kind of messages can plant seeds of doubt. It could stem from how they've been socialized by their parents or their caregivers while they were growing up. They keep pushing this at them, and they begin to internalize it. And then there's the fear of visibility. Success attracts scrutiny, no doubt, and it could feel risky if you fear being found out. Perfectionism, believing you must meet impossible standards in order for you to be legitimate. Trauma or grief, like the loss that I faced, my husband's passing, it could amplify self-doubt, making stability feel fragile. Let me speak a little bit about my story, and I want to tell us how I overcame my own self-sabotaging beliefs. My decision to rebuild the business, despite the grief and the uncertainty that came from some serious challenges that I met on ground, was a profound rejection of self-sabotage. I had people who, in spite of my work history, went around spreading all sorts of lies and tales that I knew nothing at all about the business, that I was a stay-at-home mom, stories that they made up to excuse some of their own actions and mismanagement style. I had to stand in the midst of all that and keep forging ahead. Now let me break down why my choice mattered. I rejected the escape hatch, which was selling assets and relocating. It might have numbed my pain temporarily, but it would have reinforced a narrative of helplessness that I can't handle this. I embraced the messy middle. I started to learn on the job, and learning on the job means tolerating imperfection. And this is a direct counter to impostor syndrome's demand for flawlessness. I prioritized legacy over comfort. Choosing long-term growth for myself, my children, and the business required trusting my capacity to evolve from a support role to becoming the main act. What strategies can you deploy to counter self-sabotage? Let me share some of the things that you can do for you to be able to counter self-sabotage. Number one, name the fear. What am I avoiding? And what story am I telling myself? For instance, if I sell the business, I will feel safe, but will I regret it later on? Number two, reframe failure. Review mistakes as data, not as proof of your inadequacy. For every challenge that I face in the business, it taught me something new. For instance, as at the time my husband died, a lot of our compliance documents were no longer valued. A few were still valid, a lot were no longer valid. And the managers of the business then had allowed months and even 1 or 2 years to roll by, which meant that there were contracts we couldn't bid for because we needed to renew these documents. I got a team together to tackle these renewals one after the other. I took it one after the other. And in time, we were able to renew our compliance documents. And it gave me a sense of accomplishment. I celebrated that seemingly small win. And through some wrong management decisions, the company was plunged into a huge debt with the bank after my husband passed. Now, getting a loan from the bank to grow a business or purchase assets isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad thing if it is done with a clear strategy and with the utmost transparency, which was missing in this case. Number three, visualize the long game. Compare short-term case, like deciding to maybe relocate, taking money to buy designer bags and dresses, to long-term fulfillment, the pride, the financial independence, the legacy that are byproducts of this, and then build a counter narrative. Replace I am not enough with I am learning, and that is enough. My journey mirrors what research shows, that growth happens when we lean into discomfort and not avoid it. Self-sabotage often masquerades as practicality, like I felt in my own case that selling off the business is matter. It's usually fear in disguise. So by choosing to rebuild, I have not only preserved a business, but also have rewritten my own story from I can't to I am becoming. So it is essential for us as women to recognize the signs of impostor syndrome and the self-sabotaging behaviors that come with it. By cultivating self-awareness and taking steps to confront these limiting beliefs, we can empower each other to break that cycle and embrace our strengths and create a brighter, more confident future. For every woman out there who is grappling with self-sabotage, I have this to say to you. Your toughest choices, like staying to rebuild when others might flee, are where your strength and your legacy can be forged. Trust that you belong in the room, even if your chair wobbles at first. Thank you very much for watching, and please do not go away without dropping 1 or 2 comments. As usual, I want to engage with you in the comments. Share the video, invite someone, subscribe to the channel, and let's keep learning together. Thank you, and do have a beautiful day ahead.